Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And in the fast-moving world of conspiracies and political intrigue, there is yet another sharp turn left in what happened to Humza Yousaf. The story is getting more dark and more complex as each day passes. And it seems that there are possibly two conspiracies interwoven, and one is deeper than the other. You couldn't make this up. If this was a novel, it would be a page-turner. Honestly, you can imagine something like Grisham writing this, but based on Scottish politics, not on American law. But it's that kind of thing, twist after twist. Stephen King, because it's all going to end in tears and horror. Although Stephen King's really bad at endings. And I think for the SNP, it'll be a really bad ending too. Although, of course, they don't have it. They've got them. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this because this is the story of the Anniesland assassination. And it is intriguing to say the least. Again, I think this story is going to be one that runs. So let me take this opportunity to ask you to definitely like the video if you find it amusing or entertaining, or in this case, wonderful. And if you are yet to subscribe, please do so. That massively helps the channel. We can get this stuff out there. And it is, I think you'll be enjoying this one because it will fill you with everything you suspect exactly what's going on behind the scenes with this crowd. Let's take a look at what went on to get rid of Humza Yousaf. So, the Anniesland assassination. Did Stephen Flynn and Kate Forbes plot Humza Yousaf's downfall at this Glasgow bowling club? Well, previously we thought the intrigue was Flynn going up to Holyrood a couple of Wednesdays ago to speak to Angus Robertson. Then we had the firing of the Greens. Then this whole thing was put in motion. Then it turns out that on Saturday, you have this meeting, this secretive meeting, Saturday morning, between Kate Forbes and John Swinney. And now it seems that there was another plot underneath that between Flynn and Kate Forbes. Now, is the plot? I don't know. This is the thing. Nothing's revealed. It's all excitement. But basically, is the plot there that Flynn goes to Angus Robertson to help get the upper echelons to help ease Humza Yousaf out? Flynn has a little deal with Swinney saying, you take over, short term, you take the heat and lose the election. You'll get the payoff for being First Minister for the rest of your life, your nice little pension. Then you quit, and then me and Flynn will take over, but all our sins are absolved by you and Humza Yousaf taking all the pain away. We sit in a clean slate, a tabula rasa, as it were. And so, is this the plot? It certainly seems this way. You got plots within plots, wheels within wheels, everything in motion. Nothing can be pinned down, and nobody is speaking the truth to anyone. It's like JFK, isn't it? Honestly, it's that level of assassination, of political assassination. It's just that there is no bullet. There's no magic bullet. But it does appear that somebody is the Oswald in all this. But you have to work out who. Anyway, the Express investigates as rumours swirl about an SNP stitch-up to remove Humza Yousaf and install Swinney as the caretaker without a damaging bloodbath. We reveal three of the key players in this shadowy nationalist drama. Then they met just 3 days before. It's all fantastic, isn't it? Questions are being asked about an SNP event where Stephen Flynn, Kate Forbes and Stuart MacDonald got together just 5 days before Humza Yousaf tore up the Butte House Agreement. 5 days before. The alleged plotting is said to have taken place in the low-key setting of the Scotstoun Hill Bowling Club in Glasgow suburb of Anniesland in the evening of Friday, April the 19th. The event was held to endorse Carol Monaghan as the Glasgow West candidate. So they had this excuse, oh, we'll all go there, there's Glasgow West candidate Carol Monaghan, we'll use this, and then we'll have that little secretive meeting. Nobody expects the politicking to occur when you're doing that. That's why funerals are great, when you get the funerals of some national leader, and everyone turns up, and that's a great chance. Oh, yes, he was a great man, sadly missed, blah, blah, blah. And then it's all sneaky little backroom deals and cuts, and they have conversations, and they can do things, because no one's expecting anything. If you have a summit, people have to have press reports and there has to be the announcements and things have to be shown. Whereas, backroom deals and things at things like this, that's where the real politicking happens. Miss Forbes and Glasgow South MSP MacDonald were advertised as special guests several months in advance, along with Anniesland MSP Bill Kidd. But Mr Flynn, who represents Aberdeen South, was only added 3 days earlier, on April the 16th. On social media, one person suggested it was a last-minute line-up change to plot Humza's downfall. I think it probably was. It came as simmering tensions between some SNP politicians and the Scottish Greens were about to boil over, mainly, of course, into Cass and the abandonment of climate targets. And, of course, these are two different boils, and they both had to be lanced. Of course, the only way of lancing it was to get rid of the Greens and take their green pus with them. Flynn was already known to be quietly fuming at the deal, with the Green opposition to the North Sea oil and gas industry causing huge damage to the SNP's electoral chances across the North East. Like Forbes, he's ferociously ambitious, relatively young. She's 34, he's 35, although he looks much older. And he's likely to spend years at the top of the party, unfortunately, but thankfully and hopefully not at the top of government. 2 days after the Anniesland gathering, Patrick Harvey gave the extraordinary BBC interview in which he repeatedly refused to accept the findings of Dr. Hilary Cass and her team of medical experts. I highlight that because his opposition was based on that bloke down the pub. No experts at all, no scientific knowledge. But then he's uneducated, he is ignorant. The experts spent 4 years putting together their report, and it may just have been the trigger the plotters had been waiting for. Yeah, you have all this, you have all your men, it's a chess game, isn't it? You have all your men ready to go, and you make your little random moves, waiting for the moment, waiting for your opponent to make that move, and then boom, and the trap is sprung. And that's what they've done. And if they have, if this is real, then I've got to say they have gone up in my estimation for being very, very clever. I still don't like their politics, but you've got to admire the cunning if this is real. Anyway, in the same way as the Germans during the little trouble we had in the late 30s, early 40s were awful people. However, you can still admire the likes of Rommel for his tactical expertise, and indeed many do. Even who was Field Marshal Montgomery. Even Montgomery said that Rommel was an excellent tactician. Praise indeed, isn't it? And that's what you've got to say, even if you disagree with him in every possible way. Well done, if this is true. Anyway, on Wednesday, 24th of April, Flynn was in Edinburgh for a meeting with the First Minister. He's said to have urged Mr Yousaf to chuck the Greens out of government before the party's lentil-munching members could vote to terminate the BHA, arguing that failing to do so would make him look weak. Now, we've said that all along, that this was all down to Flynn. When he had that meeting with Angus, and we pointed that out, and I've done the video on that, where he had that secret meeting with Angus Robertson, and we said that was the start of it, because he wanted them out. He's never liked the Greens. He's never made it hid that problem. He's always said that they're damaging to him personally and to the party. So it wasn't a surprise at that point. We knew he was involved. The SNP leader later ended the coalition the following morning, fatally underestimating the spiteful response from Harvey, Slater and Greer. And with the 8 Green MSPs threatening to support a vote of no confidence, Yousaf was forced to turn to Alba's Ash Regan in order to save his political career. But, of course, he couldn't, because whilst he could have tolerated her, and whilst others in the party could have tolerated her, she, of course, was one of Salmon's babies. And he is like the cancer to the current SNP crop. Anyway, for reasons that are yet to be fully explained, he then rejected her offer of support because of some of the demands she was making were beyond what the hierarchy could accept. Also, the fact the association with Salmond. It's now been revealed that Forbes and Swinney held discussions about the party leadership on the day before Mr. Yousaf's resignation, which, of course, I mentioned at the time, and I mentioned earlier in the video. We did the video on that meeting as well in the past. We've said that would have been key, and that's where the dirty deals were done. Times reports that MacDonald and the SNP MP Ian Blackford acted as proxies for the pair, with Miss Forbes eventually agreeing to stand aside in exchange for a plum cabinet post. Meanwhile, Flynn, who's now being tipped for a switch to Holyrood in 2026, again I mentioned that, showered Miss Forbes with praise, even as he publicly urged her not to stand against Swinney, hinting at a future leadership context between them. He said, "I've got a huge amount of respect for Kate. I think she's phenomenally talented and she's going to have an incredibly bright future. But one of the reasons I'm not putting myself forward is because I'm 35 years old and I've got a lot of experience still to gain." Yes, you could try by, leaving politics, going out and getting yourself your first job. Suggestions of a plot to topple Mr. Yousaf also involved Nicola Sturgeon, who still wields huge influence in the SNP. She's claiming, "I wasn't pulling strings, I'm not the puppet master." But we all know that is a load of horseshit. Of course she is. She is absolutely mired in all of this. Some have even claimed that the outgoing FM's strong stance on the war in Gaza, not to mention his dalliance with leader Erdogan from Turkey, was the motivations for the powers that be to act against him. He was acting against the will and interest of the people of Scotland and the people of Great Britain. How he hasn't been investigated by the security forces, I don't know, but I suspect there'll be a great sigh of relief at GCHQ and on the south bank of the Thames at the moment. Thames House will be going, "Ooh, well, that's easy." There are some extraordinary claims that political manoeuvres in Glasgow and Edinburgh were in some way connected to the British-American project, which is run from the US Embassy in London. It seeks to strengthen links between the US and UK and counter anti-American sentiment among the British left. God damn it, get them freedom dispensers out. Forbes is a fellow of the BAP, along with the Scottish leader Anwar Sarwar, British-American project, and both Flynn and MacDonald are said to have links to the organisation. Oh, so it is a right-wing plot. Stunning, isn't it? That the two leading people within the SNP now appear to be Flynn and Forbes, and they both seem to be right-wing, pro-British-American project, pro-CIA. Couldn't make it up. I wonder if there was security people involved in this plot. I wonder if this was state-driven. Was information leaked? Were there conversations saying, "I have this, and if you don't resign, I will release it. You could be going to jail." And that's why he went. It's weird, isn't it? Anyway, its conferences are held under Chatham House rules, similar to the Bilderberg Group, where participants are free to use information without revealing its source. And there are claims it is sometimes used as a front for the CIA. What a lot! I am bang on the ball. Dennis Findlay, a prominent nationalist who quit Alex Salmond's Labour Party in a row over gender, is among those promoting the idea of a plot. Reading is hard. She tweeted, "Why on earth has Humza been stitched up? What happens makes no sense. It's possible his stance on Gaza meant that the powers that be decided he had to go. I think that's definitely it. And I now definitely think that there was intelligence community work behind this. They'll have been given information and they will have tipped his hand, and that's why he's had to go. It stinks, doesn't it? But I suppose it's quiet. Sweep it under the carpet. Don't make an issue of it. Let's not show how he was slipping money to terrorists, possibly, allegedly." There you go. If this is true, this will make one hell of a TV series in about 3 years' time, isn't it? This will be Netflix in 3 years, McMafia, downfall of a leader, something like that. You can imagine the way Netflix do it. Although, of course, you'd have to have Kate Forbes would have to be a black single mother lesbian, and Stephen Flynn would be a gay blind man with a predilection for cats, something like that. Because Netflix, DEI, and all that bollocks. But it will still make excellent work. Anyway, I'm going to round up and come up, and I'm damn well sure I've earned a like on this video. And if you are yet to subscribe, keep them coming. Hit that button, subscribe, help me grow the channel so I can keep putting shit like this out. It's unbelievable, isn't it? It reads like a plot of a book. I hope somebody writes it and somebody makes it. Coming up. What do I say? I'm not going to do any more. Let me know in the comments exactly what you think of this. I'm just stunned by it. And do please, as I say, do please hit the like button. Massively helps. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet. I'm just going to stop. Thank you very much for watching this. Bit of a long one, but I think it's been well worth every minute. Take good care, people. I will speak to you later. Goodbye.